realizing that they can do things that their peers can do. They learn the adaptations.
Good morning, good afternoon. This is What's New in Adaptive Physical Education. I'm your host, Scott McNamara, and I'm excited to be bringing you an episode focusing on Campabilities, which is a sports camp that's specially created for children that are visually impaired. I talked about Campabilities here and there on the podcast, and I'm super excited to be finally bringing a group of directors from around the country here. And I think I talked about it. I started my own in Michigan a few years ago, and we're growing, and it looks like we're going to have a really good year. We're changing facilities. And I also talked about that I got to go to Salt Lake City recently to go to a summit where we all got to come from around the world and sit down and discuss our ideas on fundraising, activities, what we're doing well, what we're not doing well, what we want to do in our future. So I got a few directors on here, as well as Dr. Lauren Lieberman, who is the founder of Campabilities, and this is the 21st year of Campabilities, where we got the documentary from HBO and all these great things that are happening. So I thought we could bring some people together to talk about some of those great things that are happening. And in this episode, we're talking a little bit about, what Campabilities is, and what we're doing for parents in trainings, who's part of Campabilities, who's volunteering, and some of the things that the kids can bring from camp to their schools as well. So without much further ado, here is the first part of 3 episodes on Campabilities. I hope you enjoy.
Let me just say welcome. How's everyone doing?
Fine.
Very good. We were just before the podcast started and everyone was on. Matt was showing us his beautiful house and some of his friends. I was kind of in and out of that.
All right, tell me where your camp is and when it's going to be running.
So if we can start, let's start with Dr. Lauren Lieberman, who is our mentor in all this and started Campabilities, 20 years ago?
21 years ago. Yeah, so it's Lauren Lieberman, and I started Campabilities in Brockport in 1996 was our first year. And so I've been running Campabilities in Brockport for 21 years now.
Dr. Hagel, Justin, former guest. Tell us about yours.
Hi, I'm Justin Hagel. I work at Old Dominion University in beautiful Norfolk, Virginia. And I've been directing Campabilities Alaska since 2009, so this will be my 8th year directing that camp. It is from July 16th to the 21st this year. And it is in Anchorage, on the campus of the University of Alaska, Anchorage, and then pretty much all over the town up there.
Hi, my name is Matthew Meskel, and I'm a deputy phys ed teacher at the Maryland School for the Blind. And our camp runs from June 27th to July 1st. And it's at the Maryland School for the Blind in Baltimore, Maryland. And my coworker and I have been running the camp for 4 years now.
Hi, it's Kathy Beaver. I'm with the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired in upstate New York. This will be our 6th summer camp, which is actually located in Woodgate, New York, an hour north of Utica, in the Adirondack Mountains. We also have winter camps, which are in February of each year. This year's summer camp is July 31st to August 6th.
My name is Wilma Chestnut House, and I am with Missouri Council of the Blind and the manager of a beat baseball team. And our camp will start for the first year, actually July the 31st, to August the 5th.
That's awesome. And mine is Campabilities Michigan, and we are in our 4th year now, and we will be running July 25th to the 29th. So we're really excited about that too. So some of our listeners probably do know about Campabilities, and a lot of us may not know about Campabilities as well, some of our listeners. So they're hearing all these dates and times, but let's talk a little bit about what is Campabilities, what are some of the basics that you would see in each one of the camps. So what are the things that I would see from Campabilities Brockport to Campabilities St. Louis to Campabilities Maryland? What are those things?
Sure. This is Lauren speaking, and I forgot to say our dates are June 26th to July 2nd for Camp Abilities Rockport. And I know that we all have some common elements, so that it's an educational sports camp, so we all teach sports. Most of us have track and field and swimming and tandem biking and some goalball. Most camps have some beep baseball. But then all the camps have some unique sports in them that are unique to their area and their preference and their interest as well.
This is Wilma, and this year we are teaching beep baseball, track and field, and goalball. And with our kids, we're just trying to. I am an athlete myself, so I've got that competitive thing going on. We want our kids to be able to speak up for themselves, and that just the joy of winning those kind of things like that, they kind of help you with that, being able to speak up. It takes away some of that shyness.
Hey, this is Justin. Up in Alaska, we do a couple of more Alaska-type activities. We do archery with the Northwest Association of Archers up there, which is a lot of fun inside of a World War II bunker. We also hike up Flat Top, which is a 3,500-foot mountain, quote-unquote. Not really a mountain, but it's a pretty awesome hike overseeing Anchorage. And we also take the kids to a water park each year, which might not seem like an Alaskan thing, but it's an indoor water park, and the kids absolutely love it. So, yeah, those are a few of our unique activities, in addition to the more typical, like track and field, goalball, swimming type activities that most people are doing at these camps.
Hi, it's Kathy. Similar to Justin, because we're in the Adirondack Mountains for our summer camp, we have a high ropes, low ropes course. We do have a panther pole and a zip line, and we too climb a mountain. It's important to take advantage of the environment in which we're located.
All right, awesome. It sounds like there's a lot of cool things going on at all these different camps. It's not so like a lot of them. There's some outdoor pursuits as well as the adapted sports. Lots of really cool things going on. So let's go on, and I got another question for you. What is different about Camp Abilities than other summer camps? And let's talk about not only just summer camps for typically developing kids, but let's also talk about how is it different than other summer camps that might be for kids with visual impairments.
I think this is Matt Mesko talking. I think Camp Abilities is unique because for a lot of our athletes, they're just around kids that they can empathize with and that they have similarities with as far as some of their disabilities, especially the vision aspect. So for a lot of our kids, it's meeting another student with a visual impairment for the first time, realizing that they can do things that their peers can do. They learn the adaptations so that they can participate with them, but just that collaboration and that camaraderie that they develop with each other, because they're all visually impaired, yet they're all doing these incredible things that week of camp and really accomplishing a lot.
Hey, to piggyback on Matt, one thing that makes Alaska unique is we're pulling kids from these native Alaskan villages, and kids will grow up not meeting another kid with a visual impairment until they come to camp. And, they'll come to camp and occasionally not realize all the different things that they could be successful and have fun doing. And we've had kids from these native villages come year after year and then go back and then introduce sports like goalball to their school. And I've actually Skyped with the phys ed teachers in these native villages to try to teach them about the sport during the school year, which is a ton of fun. So I think that's one of the best aspects of our camp up there, is that we have such a broad reach.
We have high school students at some of our camps figure out what they might want to do when they graduate. College student training. I think that is pretty unique. And then also, one thing I love about our camps, and I think we all do this, is bringing in role models with visual impairments, whether they're elite athletes or whether they're community athletes and involved in recreation, just to show the children what they can do when they grow up.
Hey, just to talk a little more about this training piece, I love telling people that one of our old counselors and staff members was this year's National School for the Blind Teacher of the Year. I love telling people that.
That's cool.
Yeah, isn't it?
Very cool.
He was such a great guy. I mean, I don't talk to him as much anymore, but he was fantastic.
Can I just jump in on some of that stuff? And I love the way that this is going. And I'm hearing a lot of like community integration, especially what Justin was talking about, and Skyping in with some of these other PE teachers, and then the training piece as well. Let me just ask an additional question of how does Capabilities also, how does it work with the community in general around the year?
I think I can give an example. One of the things we teach at camp, of course, is tandem cycling. And we were looking for opportunities in our own community to take the sport of tandem cycling and bring it back to a community event. And in Central New York, we have the Ride for Missing Children, which is a very large 100-mile bike ride with 500 cyclists who educate the community about missing children and increase awareness. And so we participated in that a couple of weeks ago. We had an adult team and we had a youth team in the last 5 miles. So it took a sport the kids learned at camp and brought it to raise money. They had to train to be in the ride. They met a lot of others who love the sport of cycling, and they realized the potential they could have as an adult should they decide that they want to continue with the sport. I think that's one way that you can bring what they fall in love with at camp back to their own lives.
And then, so how many of your volunteers do you think are college age or college students trying to get hours and such?
We have a unique situation, and we don't have any Alaskan volunteers this year. All of our volunteers come from the lower 48. Most years it's about 80%. This year it's 100%, and every one of them is a college student. And they're either in physical education programs. I have 5 of my students coming up from Old Dominion. They're in optometry programs. We have 3 coming up from Ohio State this year. And then we have physical education students from Northern Colorado this year as well, and 1 from Brockport. There's always 1 from Brockport. They always sneak in there somehow.
This is Wilma, and most of our counselors, our coaches, are university students, and I've explained to our trainers or our specialists that these people will be also learning. So not only are you teaching the athletes, but you're teaching because these are future teachers for adaptive sports and things like that. So you're teaching them also. You'll be instructing 2 different groups. And we got a lot of volunteers, and some of them are former students at the School for the Blind, and some of them are just friends, and everybody's just, the whole community's willing to help. And I didn't have a problem getting there. And as she was talking about the tandem bikes, they just got us a bike at the School for the Blind that rides 7 people. So we're excited about trying that out.
That's awesome. Well, it's Lauren. We have one of those 7-person bikes, and we
Yes.
So I also wanted to kind of piggyback on what Kathy said before, because one of the things that we're focusing on this is our 3rd year of a 3-year grant from the Lavelle Foundation. And we're working with Kathy and the other camps in New York, and we're trying to promote after-school sports with the kids at our camps. And so we train the teachers that come, physical education and vision teachers. We train the parents. We've done 2 years of parent trainings, and we teach advocacy to the kids. And so when you have kids with visual impairments that are on their after-school sports, whether it's swimming, whether it's cross-country, everybody that comes to that meet and all the kids on their team and the other teams see kids with visual impairments doing sports, whether, it could be diving, track and field. We have kids on wrestling teams. And so that also promotes the potential of what kids with visual impairments can do. So, what we're doing really helps the public understand, and it really pushes those boundaries of what people perceive as the limit of someone with a visual impairment.
We talked about training, and I really like that piece with the parent training. But what type of training are we doing? And, what's the purpose of the training, and what are we training the parents for?
Well, at our camp, there's different goals of the families, but we teach the parents about how to get involved in the IEP and what their rights are related to the IEP, placement decisions for their children. and also their rights related to their input in their physical education class. And also we teach the parents about their rights and the child's right to be on their after-school and community sports program teams. And so a lot of the parents accept exclusion when actually they shouldn't be accepting exclusion.
In my camp last year, we did a parent in-service day, or a few hours of it, and we talked about keeping them physically active. We gave them different things to keep physically active and activities. And we didn't go in the IEP route for advocacy, but I would like to do that in the future. And I want to, ask that question now. All the camps, or a few of the camps at least, what are you doing to engage the parents? So what are they bringing home afterwards?
This is Kathy. We're doing a few things. One is that each year at camp, we try to give the kids equipment, and that was part of the grant as well through the VAL. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lauren, but we actually gave out tennis rackets. We taught the kids how to play tennis, and then at our camp, we gave each kid a set of tennis rackets and a tennis ball so that they could take that sport home with them and play with others. The other thing we are doing we've launched a program with parents just a few weeks ago where we reached out to all of the kids' parents who come to our camps and we said, what can we do in your public school or in your school district to help them feel more comfortable to integrate your child into the PE classes? And what can we do as an organization come out, whether it's we come out and teach your class to play goalball or we teach the class to play kickball, we're willing to do that if you need us to. And about half of the parents have responded, please help us. Some are good, and that's great. But those who need that extra help or that extra support, we're willing to provide to them. So it's going to be a huge project for us because it's going to involve a lot of travel. All of our kids come from all across New York State. But we think we can manage it with all of our partner agencies to make it a reality for them.
This is Wilma. We after attending the summit in April and beginning of May, I got a lot of ideas, and I want to show the parents that video that Lauren showed us about the children, and I want the parents to learn how to play these sports. So when your kids do go home after camp, they can also play with them. They need to know how to play the sports with the kids, and that'll keep everybody active. The family, it's like a family thing. The sisters, the brothers, mom, dad, everybody can play beat ball, or everybody can play goal ball, or that kind of thing.
Okay. Now we didn't really talk about the Campability Summit, and this year was the first year, and I was, really lucky to also be invited there. And I did discuss it on one of my earlier podcasts. I think I talked a little bit about the storm. It was the craziest thing ever. We went to Salt Lake City, and there was a windstorm the day that we were supposed to leave, and everyone had to leave way early because all the expressways were shut down. And it was intense, an intense storm. But besides that, without the environment concerns, what was that summit about? What can you tell me a little bit about what you gained from the summit and why did we all come together, all the Campability directors?
Once again, this is Wilma, and I had a great time, and I got to meet all the different people. We got different ideas from fundraising to how to get them involved in different activities, and I learned so much from there that I can bring home and share with the board and with the other coaches and talk to them about it. It was just really, really great. I got a lot of great information from there. Just how to deal with certain problems that you may have with different parents and just everything. And I think that's a wonderful thing that they put together. I think they did a great job in Utah.
So what is the benefit of us all collaborating together then as different camps?
I think this is Kathy, and I hate to be philosophical about this, but Lauren was the first pioneer in starting Campabilities, but we all are pioneers to a certain extent, and sometimes you can feel lonely because you have a lot of attitudes and a lot of perceptions that you have to change. Yes. And it's an ongoing process. And so for us to all to be in the same room and to share our belief systems and where we hope to see the future for our kids who are blind and visually impaired, I think it's just gives you strength to go forward and move on.
And this is Lauren speaking, and I do appreciate everything you said, Kathy. But to me too, is we've been doing our camp for a number of years, and I got so many great ideas from all the other camp directors as far as activities, new equipment that I never heard about, new ways of fundraising that I never heard of, and the energy and the creativity of all the directors was just awesome. So it was it was just great to be there. And there were a few people that were actually running capabilities that I hadn't met before, and so that was really a nice eye-opening experience, I think, for everyone. Some of the other camp directors hadn't met the other directors before either.
Justin, you're being quiet over there. So, both you and Matt are prior guests on the show, and I think both of you mentioned your story about traveling across the country and also driving to Alaska. And now, who's the other person who runs Capabilities Alaska with you?
That's Miss Jenna Sticken. She's the engine that runs that thing.
Okay. So, do you find it hard? Now, you're in Alaska, and that's, way different. So, how is collaboration between other camps affecting Capabilities Alaska?
So, first, the reason I was quiet about the summit is because I was not in attendance at the summit. I'm sure that's what you were getting at, but you all, most of you know why I wasn't in attendance. It's because you scheduled it at a time that came right after getting hit by a car. So I missed the summit. But anyway, Jenna was there. So that's a good question, how we collaborate. And I think for us, the best part is how people who we've worked with and people who work at other camps keep on switching camps. So Matt's a wonderful example. Matt and I drove up to Alaska, as you mentioned, together for my second year and his first year up there. We really grew up together up in Alaska as far as this camp thing is concerned, at least in my opinion. And now he's running, and then after that, years later, we both worked together at Campabilities Connecticut for a couple of years, or camp programs. Maybe, I don't know if Matt was at the summer program, but you were at a bunch of the weekend programs. So we did that together, and we had those experiences, and now Matt's running a camp somewhere, and we're running a camp somewhere else, and, our philosophies are different, but very intertwined because of the experiences we had together. And we've got other people who've been at our camp and have gone to other camps. A girl named Courtney Aldridge was at 8 camps one year. She's been at a ton of them. So I think that one of the major benefits for us is we keep attracting people, and those people are going off and doing other wonderful things at other camps. Somebody at Texas's camp came to our camp. And here's another really cool thing. Kids from other camps are coming up to our camp now. So this is the second time that 2 boys from the Westchester camp will be coming up. And what they do is their parents will drop them off and go on a nice Alaskan vacation and then pick them up at the end of camp. And I think it's such a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I'd like to quickly speak too on just kind of the community that Lauren has really created with this Capabilities that really allows all of us to get together and share our ideas, but also work for the same goal and really have the same passion, and then build that sense of community, form the relationships. But others who are listening to this who may not be so familiar, who may think, okay, well, I'm not involved in this, Lauren has created this atmosphere where everybody is welcome. So if anybody wants to get involved in one of these camps, it just takes one experience to get one hooked on it and want to do it again and again. But then 2, everybody here welcomes everybody with open arms and just join the family of what Capabilities is. So that summit was kind of like a family reunion in a sense then, because we all just got together and were able to be together and share and collaborate. It was great.
Hey, Scott, this is Justin again. Let me share another funny instance, right? So there's this kid sitting on Matt's couch right now. His name is Cody. And Matt and I met Cody in at Connecticut during those weekend programs. And his first year there, I was like, man, this kid is awesome. We need to get him up to Alaska. And I think he was 17. And he came up and volunteered a couple of times. And now he took Matt's position when Matt decided to discontinue his participation in Alaska. So Matt started running the camp in Maryland. And we not replaced, because you don't replace somebody like Matt Meskel, but Cody is trying to fill his shoes now. So it's funny how people keep jumping around within this family that Matt's talking about.
Well, to complete that circle then, Cody, who's here now, he's here because he got a job now at the Maryland School for the Blind. So now he's going to be a full-time teacher as a TVI at the Maryland School for the Blind, where, you got to ask Cody, but his roots really stemmed from Camp Abilities and being able to participate and join part of that family. And I know that's how I got involved as well in this field, is just kind of, getting that opportunity. And now I have a career of it and I love it.
Yeah, and so
Thank you, Lauren.
And so Cody's going to quit now, Camp Abilities Alaska, and he's going to start working with Matt, and we're going to have to replace Cody. So if there's anybody out there that wants to take Cody's position, please let me know. We only take, this is another thing we do up there, we only take staff members who have been volunteers before, so we can grow organically from within, and I think a lot of camps do that. So that's why Cody went from volunteer to staff, and that's what everybody on our staff has done, including myself and Jenna.
This is Wilma, and when I went to the summit, everybody up there is so willing to come and help you at your capabilities and give you little tips on what you can do and how you can do. And that 3-day weekend, the mini camp, was a great idea. And I think it's Kathy that has the one in the Adirondacks. And now we want to start us like a winter mini camp, and we just got great ideas in everybody. As they said, it's like a big family, and it was just so great. And I brought a lot of ideas back. And once we get started, maybe after our second camp, that's what we want to do. Start a winter camp and start mini camps.
So I love the idea of this whole almost process of pay it forward, where we keep building upon this network, and it's passion and doing something amazing is contagious, and it's a growing thing, and it's really, really wonderful to see the process. Now we're talking about kind of us as professionals right now, and working together and being and it driving some people to go on and to a profession of APE or APA and making their own capabilities. But let's go back and maybe talk a little bit more about the kids and what are the specific benefits that they're getting from taking part in camp and able to then what is something that if I'm, I think Justin said something earlier about, you might not know much about Camp Abilities listening to this. So what's something that a listener right now could listen about the benefits for kids for Camp Abilities and then take into their schools?
This is Lauren speaking. I just got the coolest email from a parent, and her daughter's in 8th grade, and she just had her IEP meeting. And when her mom went to the IEP meeting, the athletic director from the high school was at the IEP meeting. The daughter requested the athletic director from the high school come, because she's also the PE director. And the daughter said to the athletic director, "I am so tired of people making me sit on the side and nobody notices and nobody cares. And so I'm going to pave the way and make it happen when I go to high school. Not only do I want to participate in physical education, but I want to be in sports as well." And that athletic director went to the meeting, and now the seed is planted for when she goes to high school. And her mother emailed this long email and said that she never would have had that voice if she hadn't come to Camp Abilities, knowing her rights and knowing that she's the only person that can make that happen.
I have a cool story. This is Kath. A lot of us have pre-K campers who come each time we offer a camp. And I have a young girl who, she's now 14. She started with us when she was 11. And when the first summer she came, whenever she talked to any of us, she held her hand in front of her face. Even though she was totally blind, she held her hand splayed in front of her face. And then by the end of the week, that hand came down. But now she comes to camp and she speaks up. This confidence and the self-esteem that she has achieved through just being successful and all the things that we have offered and provided to her has really changed her life and changed her self-image. And it's really allowed her to build herself into an amazing young woman. And I had mentioned to her when I saw her at winter camp that I find it hard to believe it's the same girl that I met 4 years ago now, that she has just gained so much self-esteem and self-confidence, and it's all through success. And isn't that what it's all about for all of us? As we achieve success, we become better people and build our own personal attributes. And this is what's happening before they show you. And it's a great thing to be a part of.
We have a student this year, so I'm not sure how it's going to go out, but I can kind of think already ahead of how it's going to end for this particular student who just recently went blind and is having a hard time accepting the fact that he can no longer see. So I know his O&M instructor and his TVI are struggling to just introduce the things that he's going to need, like a cane, learning Braille. He's resistant to it because he doesn't want to accept the fact that he's unfortunately become blind or visually impaired, and it's pretty significant vision loss. So he's going to be coming to our camp in a couple of weeks here, and what I can imagine for him is just to see everybody else and to accept his unfortunate circumstance, but learn to appreciate the fact that there's still all these opportunities, and he's going to still have these abilities, and that when one door closes, another one opens, and we're providing hopefully another door for him to walk through and to learn and grow and just kind of accept and grow from there.
All right, everyone. That was the first part of the Camp Abilities episodes. I hope you enjoyed them. We have a lot more coming up with the directors that I interviewed. We're going to talk more about how Camp Abilities goes into physical education. We're talking a little bit more about physical activity levels, evidence-based practices with kids with visual impairments, and just kind of talk about the field in general. So this was a really great episode, and we kind of, eventually kind of gets all over the place because we're having such a good time talking, and it got very conversational, a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed it. Email me at scmcnamara23@gmail.com if you have any questions. Put a Facebook link question or Twitter, and tell me what you thought, or if you have any ideas for some future episodes. We'd love to hear from you. Take care.